Welcome to Kaumudy Global. Russian forces sieged a strategic Ukrainian port and besieged another on Thursday in a bid to cut the country off from the sea as the two sides headed for another round of talks aimed at ending the fighting that has sent more than 1 million people fleeing over Ukraine's borders. Moscow's attempt to quickly take over the Ukrainian capital has apparently stalled. But the military has made significant gains in the south as part of efforts to sever the country's connection to Black and Azov seas. The Russian military said it had control of Kherson, and local Ukrainian officials confirmed that forces have taken over government headquarters in the Black Sea port of 280,000, making it the first major city to fall since the invasion began a week ago. Elsewhere, the Russians pressed their offensive on multiple fronts, though a column of tanks and other vehicles outside the capital of Kyiv has made little progress in recent days. Heavy fighting continued on Thursday on the outskirts of another strategic port city on the Azov Sea, Mariupol, plunging into darkness, isolation and fear. Electricity and phone connections are largely down, and homes and shops are facing food and water shortages. Without phone connections, medics didn't know where to take the wounded. In just 7 days of fighting, more than 2% of Ukraine's population has been forced out of the country, according to the tally the UN Refugee Agency released to the Associated Press. The mass evacuation could be seen in Kharkiv, a city of about 1.4 million people and Ukraine's second largest. Residents desperate to escape falling shells and bombs crowded the city's train station and pressed onto trains, not always knowing where they were headed. At least 227 civilians have been killed and another 525 wounded in that time, according to the latest figures from the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. It acknowledges that is a vast undercount, and Ukraine earlier said that more than 2,000 civilians have died. That figure could not be independently verified. As the toll of war mounted, a second round of talks between Ukrainian and Russian delegations was expected later Thursday in neighboring Belarus, though the two sides appear to have little common ground. The US and its allies have insisted that NATO is a defensive alliance that doesn't pose a threat to Russia. And the West fears Russia's invasion is meant to overthrow Ukraine's government and install a friendly government through Lavrov said Moscow would let the Ukrainians choose what government they should have. Russian President Vladimir Putin earlier raised the specter of nuclear war, putting his country's nuclear forces on high alert, but his foreign minister shrugged off questions of whether Russia could escalate the conflict with nuclear weapons, saying such talks comes from the West. In Kherson, the Russians took over the regional administration headquarters. Hennedy Lahuta, the governor of the region, said Thursday, while adding that he and other officials were continuing to perform their duties and provide assistance to the population. Earlier Thursday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russian land forces have stalled and Moscow is now unleashing airstrikes, but that they are being parried by Ukrainian defense system, including in Kherson. From Kherson, Russian troops appeared to roll toward Mykolaiv, another major Black Sea port and shipbuilding center to the west along the coast. The regional governor, Vitaly Kim, said that big convoys of Russian troops are advancing on the city, but said that they will likely need to regroup before trying to take it over. A group of Russian amphibious landing vessels is also heading towards the port of Odessa, farther west, the Ukrainian military said. Moscow's isolation deepened when most of the world lined up against it at the United Nations to demand it withdraw from Ukraine. The prosecutor for the International Criminal Court opened an investigation into possible war crimes. And in a stunning reversal, the International Paralympic Committee banned Russian and Belarusian athletes from the Winter Paralympic Games. While Moscow wreaked devastation on Ukrainian cities, global sanctions plunged Russia's economy deeper into crisis. The ruble, which has tanked since the invasion, lost a further 15% against the dollar, while the economy took another hit when two ratings agencies cut Russia's credit rating, saying the invasion and Western sanctions have hurt Moscow's ability to repay debts and raised risks for the economy and stability. Russia reported its military casualties Wednesday for the first time in the war, saying nearly 500 of its troops have been killed and almost 1,600 wounded. Ukraine did not disclose its own military losses. Ukraine's military general staff said in a Facebook post that Russia's forces had suffered some 9,000 casualties in the fighting. It did not clarify if the figure included both killed and wounded soldiers. In a video addressed to the nation early Thursday, Zelensky praised his country's resistance. Around Ukraine's others crowded into train stations, carrying children wrapped in blankets and dragging wheeled suitcases into new lives as refugees. Among the million-plus refugees who have fled Ukraine in recent days were some 200 orphans with severe physical and mental disabilities who arrived from Kyiv by train in Hungary on Wednesday. For more updates from our channel, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button.